The containment field vibrated with a low, lethal hum, the kind that set teeth on edge and reminded everyone present that a single failure would mean death. Lysander Torres stood motionless outside Cell 7, watching the most feared being in known space. Zeresh the Devourer. 8 feet tall, armored and layered chitin scarred by countless battles, claws capable of tearing through reinforced alloys, mandibles sharp enough to cut titanium like cloth. Her molten amber eyes followed every movement beyond the barrier with terrifying precision. Official reports said she had killed 17 soldiers in 6 minutes and annihilated an entire research outpost alone. To the galaxy she was a nightmare given form. And yet she was crying. No alarms detected it. No scanners recorded it. The guards saw rage coiled like a weapon. The scientists saw a specimen worth dissecting. The commanders saw either an asset to exploit or a threat to erase. Only Lysander noticed the tremor running through her massive frame, the way her claws reached again and again toward empty air, the soft clicking of her mandibles forming a rhythm that was not aggression but grief. Dr. Torres, Director Valencross said, appearing beside him, voice clipped and controlled. The council needs your psychological assessment. Can this thing be reasoned with, or do we proceed with termination? She has a name, Lysander replied quietly. Zeresh. And she is not a thing. She is a person. Valencross stiffened. She slaughtered 17 people. She lost her child, Lysander said without looking away. Silence stretched between them. That's impossible, Valencross snapped. You can't know that. I know what grief looks like, Lysander answered. And I know what a parent looks like when they've lost everything. Before Valencross could respond, Lysander keyed the access code. The containment field weakened just enough to allow passage. Weapons snapped up across the control deck as alarms spiked. Torres, don't do this. Valencross shouted. She will kill you. Lysander stepped inside. Zeresh reacted instantly. Mandibles flared wide in a lethal display. Armor plates expanded. Claws extended. A warning that had driven entire species to extinction. Lysander didn't retreat. He didn't raise his hands. He sat down cross-legged on the floor, hands resting openly in his lap, utterly defenseless. My daughter died 3 years ago, he said softly. She was 7. Cancer. I held her hand while she died and I couldn't save her. The threat display froze. Zeresh stared at him, truly looked at him, and something ancient shifted in her eyes. The cell fell into a silence heavier than any weapon. Zeresh's mandibles slowly folded inward, claws retracting as if she had forgotten how to be dangerous. Her molten eyes locked onto Lysander with an intensity that made the watching guards uneasy. It was the first time she had focused on anything without hostility since her capture. I see you, Lysander continued gently. Everyone else sees a monster. A killer. An apex predator. But I see a mother drowning in grief, and no one is brave enough to acknowledge it. You know nothing, Zeresh rumbled, her voice resonating through the chamber like distant thunder. It was the first word she had spoken since her arrival. You cannot know. Then tell me, Lysander said. Because I think you need someone to hear you. Someone to witness your pain instead of just your violence. A sound like breaking crystal escaped her throat. My daughter. My Tessith. She was perfect. Strong. Bright. They took her from me. Who? Lysander asked. The researchers, Zeresh said, voice thick with emotion. They said they wanted to understand my species. They promised she would not be harmed. When I came back for her, she was dead. Dissected. Laid open like a thing. Her claws dug into the floor. They killed my child in the name of knowledge. So you destroyed them, Lysander said, not accusing, only acknowledging. Yes, Zeresh replied. Every building. Every life. I made them pay. I would burn the galaxy if it would bring her back. But it wouldn't, Lysander said softly. Nothing brings them back. No rage. No revenge. Only this emptiness. Zeresh lowered herself to the floor across from him. Up close, Lysander could see the scars beneath her armor, wounds healed poorly, a lifetime shaped by survival and violence. How do you endure it? She whispered. How do you wake each day knowing she is gone? I don't endure it well, Lysander admitted. Some days I barely function. Grief isn't something you overcome. It's something you carry. Carrying it alone makes it unbearable. My species does not share grief, Zeresh said. Weakness is death. That sounds unbearably lonely, Lysander replied. It is, she whispered. I thought revenge would save me. It only made the hole bigger. Revenge doesn't heal wounds, Lysander said. It only creates new ones. Then what heals them? She asked desperately. You don't make the pain stop, he said. You learn to live with it. You let love matter more than loss. Zeresh trembled. I am a killer. You are a mother, Lysander corrected. The killing is what you did. The love is who you are. Tears fell from her eyes, glowing like molten gold as centuries of silence finally broke. No record in galactic history had ever documented a member of Zeresh's species crying. They were legends of terror, creatures born to dominate, feared precisely because they were believed incapable of weakness. Yet there, in the heart of a maximum security detention cell, Zeresh sobbed openly before a human who had chosen to sit rather than flee. I miss her, she said, voice shattering. It feels like dying every moment she is gone. I know, Lysander replied, tears sliding freely down his own face. I miss my daughter every day. The pain proves they mattered. It proves they were loved. I don't want to forget her, Zeresh whispered. Then don't, Lysander said. Tell me about her. And so she did. For hours Zeresh spoke of Tessith. Her first hunt. Her laughter. The way she curled against her mother and made a soft purring sound when she slept. She spoke of small moments, fragile moments, the kind that defined a life far more than strength ever could. Lysander listened without interruption, bearing witness, honoring every word. Outside the cell, the command staff watched in stunned silence. What is happening in there? Valencross demanded. He's doing his job, another psychologist said quietly. He's helping her grieve. When Lysander finally emerged, Zeresh lay curled in the corner of the cell, asleep for the first time since her capture. The rage was gone. The violence had drained away. Only sorrow remained, expressed and therefore survivable. Your assessment? Valencross asked. She is not a threat, Lysander said. She is a grieving mother. Termination would be murder. She'll never be released, Valencross replied. Then give her purpose, Lysander said. Let her help others carry what she has learned to carry. 3 months later, Zeresh the Devourer became Zeresh the Counselor. She worked with bereaved families across the galaxy, offering understanding no weapon could provide. And beside her stood Dr. Lysander Torres, 2 broken parents from different worlds, proving that sometimes the greatest strength is admitting pain. The galaxy remembered Zeresh as a monster for centuries. It would remember her again, but this time for something far more dangerous to fear and far more powerful to wield: compassion. Where she once inspired terror, she now inspired survival. Worlds scarred by loss sought her counsel, not because she was gentle, but because she understood the darkness grief leaves behind. Zeresh never denied what she had done. She never erased the blood from her past. Instead, she carried it honestly, openly, using it as proof that even the most violent beings could choose something better. Parents from 100 species sat across from her, trembling in shared sorrow, and found that pain spoke a universal language. Lysander remained at her side, not as a handler or guard, but as a companion. 2 parents shaped by loss, translating grief across cultures that once believed understanding was impossible. Together they changed policy, challenged doctrine, and rewrote the definition of strength. The Interstellar Council would later classify the event as the Zeresh precedent, the moment the galaxy acknowledged that trauma, not malice, often drives destruction. Rehabilitation replaced termination. Therapy replaced interrogation. Listening replaced fear. Zeresh never forgot Tessith. She spoke her name often. Each time it hurt. Each time it mattered. And Lysander never forgot Maya. Between stars and species, something fundamental shifted. The universe did not become safer because weapons improved. It became safer because someone sat down in front of a monster and chose to listen. Sometimes the bravest act is not fighting what terrifies you. Sometimes it is recognizing yourself in it,